Ahead of the 2023 presidential election in Nigeria, there seems to be more southern candidates who are publicly declaring their ambition to run for the presidency of the country. The latest Nigerian to join the race from the diaspora is Dr. Philip Idaewor, the current chairman of the All Progressives Congress United Kingdom and chairman of APC Committee of Diaspora Chairmen Forum. Dr. Idaewor has attended all the National Conventions of APC since formation and has served as member of the Medical Committee of the Second National Convention in 2018 and in the Diaspora Committee in the 2019 Presidential Campaign Council. Dr. Idaewor joins us now from Essex in the United Kingdom. Good morning, Doctor. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Tundu. Good morning, Tundu. Nice being here.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Dr. Idaewor. Well, I mean, you are in the diaspora. You've been in the ACN Action Congress, and later in the ACN UK, and now in the APC. And you want to be president of Nigeria.
Absolutely.
And yet, you know, in the electoral amendment bill, your main constituency is not even being considered at all. Some people have proposed diaspora voting. What gives you the confidence that you will get enough support right here at home with regard to ambition, considering the fact that, you know, the diaspora, I don't know, not even established or recognized under the electoral law?
Yeah, good morning, Dr. Abati. And I think that is a very solid question you've thrown into the fray. I think that we as a country, as Nigerians, we all know, anyone who is perceptive enough, know that Nigeria is at a very challenging moment in her history. And this is a time that calls for all patriots and humane Nigerians to come together, home and abroad. And I think that the challenges of Nigerians, the diaspora, not being able to vote at this time is a challenge, but it should not exclude Nigerians anywhere to participate in the search for redemption for our country. And that is what is making me to step in. And I have been involved in Nigeria's political process since the return to democracy in 1999. I was there. I was still at home when this present dispensation started, and I was a member of the AG. So yes, I have been living outside, but I have never really forgotten my country, and I have never left the space. I have been consistent, and I think that as things stand, I am in tune enough with enough individuals to be able to communicate and be able to reach out to colleagues and compatriots who think alike. That Nigeria needs at this time a leader, some political leadership that will take us away from the scope and intensity of all kinds of challenges that we are faced with. We are in a peculiar situation in our country, and I think that it is time for us to look at how other countries were able to get themselves out of the kind of situations we find ourselves. Okay, wherever you turn in terms of insecurity and inter-ethnic disequilibrium in our country, it is hard. And I can give you an example, for instance, from Africa. You know, Paul Kagame was a Rwanda diaspora. He was born in Rwanda, yes, but he grew up in Uganda. He studied in Uganda. He rose in rank of the Uganda military. And I think that equipped him or set him apart from not being consumed by the inter-ethnic hatred that almost consumed his country. And now we can see what he's doing. He came in and has been able to set the tone for national reconciliation and national healing. And today people point at Rwanda as magical in terms of all the development that is taking place. What Nigeria needs at this time is to be able to reset the boat, to reboot, the foundations of our country, such that we can begin to bring together, first of all, the individuals or the ethnic groups that make up Nigeria to the common table of brotherhood. We have to be one. We have to see ourselves as one, first as Africans, and secondly as Nigerians. That is important if we are going to make any progress. And I think that in terms of diaspora communities participating in the development of their countries, I have just given the example of Rwanda. India will not be the India of today without Mahatma Gandhi. Yes, Mahatma Gandhi, for instance, was born in India, schooled in the United Kingdom, but he never found his voice. And he never understood the power of patriotism and how to look at his countrymen and women, Indians, from a different lens until he stayed in South Africa and he experienced what it meant to live in a globalized world, in a world that was different from what he knew. And that is precisely what Nigerians in the diaspora should be bringing to the table, to join forces with patriotic Nigerians at home to transform our country and give new lease of life to what we call our common diet as Nigerians. There is something common to all of us. Firstly, we are all Africans. Secondly, there is something peculiar about us. Everyone that meets a Nigeria will tell you that we are peculiar even as Africans. We have voice, we have a desire, and we are passionate about everything we do. We apply ourselves with vigor and with passion. And I think that that is something that we should be harvesting. Lastly, I want to say, Nigerians at this point in time also need a leader who understands that it is important to respect the Nigerian person. Our most important, most valuable, indeed the most precious commodity we have as a country is our human factor. The population we have, the Nigerian person. But Nigerians can never, let me not use the word never. Nigeria as a country will find it very difficult to transit until we have a political leadership that values and respects Nigerians, that treat Nigerians with respect, that believes that the Nigerian person is a human being, first of all, and that has value. When we look at what we are experiencing, you will have to sit back and ask yourself some questions, Dr. Abati. It is not pleasant to see people be treated with the kind of disrespect from our leadership as one witnesses. So I think that it is important that we began to frame a new narrative, to shift, a change agenda truly, that we first of all bed national development in the value of our humanity as Nigerians. I think that that is very important. And the diaspora, as I have mentioned, with the example of two countries, and I can go on and talk about, for instance, China. We will not have modern China today without Dr. Sun Yat-sen. He spent more than half of his lifetime in the diaspora campaigning for the release of China and deliverance of China from a theocracy or from an oligarchy, if I may use those words, from the last Queen dynasty. Without Dr. Sun Yat-sen, China will not become the China of today. They will not even have experienced what they are talking about in terms of
Indeed,
whether
sir.
you call it a democracy.
Indeed, sir. Yes, you are homegrown, but currently living in the diaspora. But I want to go back to that issue of diaspora voting, because around that time when the electoral bill was being mooted, the amendment bill, people from INEC, even the National Assembly, were talking about diaspora voting as an idea whose time has come, but unfortunately it didn't quite make the cut. What efforts did you make in your capacity as the chairman of APC in the diaspora and chairman of all the diaspora forums to really lobby for that idea and ensure that it happens? Because we have seen the importance of diaspora remittances being recognized by government policy. Look at the Naira for Dollar CBN initiative that's working beautifully. Why is that government policy not extended to diaspora voting and giving people in the diaspora, which could have been a big constituency of yours, now that you're in the race, they've been denied their rights as Nigerians?
Absolutely, Tundu. It's a shame that at this point in time in our national history, we still treat Nigerians who live abroad as second-class citizens. I have spoken on different fora on that issue, and I actually really push hard for it. As far back as 2018, for instance, we set up a group called the Nigerian Diaspora Voting Rights, and you can check on the footprints, on social media platform when we began to speak out and call for this to be done. And of course, some of our compatriots have aggressively pursued this issue. But don't also forget, even before 2018. Now, our compatriots in the U.S. took this matter on. They went as far as going to court. I think that it is part of what I just referred, that we have a political a situation at this point in time when the value of our humanity as Nigerians is not treated with dignity and respect. There is absolutely no reason to deny any Nigerian anywhere on the face of the earth the right to cast their vote. We are living in the 21st century. Technology now empowers us, technology now empowers humanity to be able to do a lot of the stuff they would not have been able to do in the past. Even when technology was not there, countries who were looking to harness the power of their diaspora population in terms of not just the resources they bring to the table, but the ideas they bring, the vigor they bring to the table, already put in place, infrastructure to enable their diaspora communities to vote. There's absolutely no reason to deny Nigerians in the diaspora the right to vote. And as I said, it is not something that is new. It's been there for a long time, with those in North America, for instance, taking this challenge on for several years. And we know that for those in Europe, recently we've had very aggressive lobbying on this issue. So I think that it is cardinal to the fact that if Nigeria were to develop and become a country that you call one, all Nigerians deserve to be respected. All Nigerians need to be brought to the table of brotherhood. All Nigerians need to be given their full right.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Idaewor. And a lot of people, in fact, are happy that somebody from the diaspora is doing this. But I want you to clarify something for me. At a time where doctors were on strike in Nigeria, and we all know how we berate public officials for going abroad for medical care. Doctors were on strike in Nigeria. The president was abroad. There were protests against the fact that Nigerian leaders shouldn't come abroad for medical care. But you were in support of the president in a counter-protest, coming abroad for medical care. So what really happened? Can you explain to me, is it that you're supporting the fact that leaders should come abroad for medical care when our medical care in Nigeria is shambolic and doctors were on strike?
Thank you very much, Rufai. I was once a leader in the National Association of Resident Doctors, during my training years. Indeed, I was the president of Resident Association at the University of Benin Teaching Hospital, and also one of the leaders at the national level, at the NAD level. And I was active, in the NMA as well. I have been a medical educator. I was a lecturer at the University of Benin Medical School for about 11 years. And therefore, I trained and contributed to creating for our country or birthing for our country generations of doctors. One of the important things that as doctors we carry in our heart is the value of life. It is important. Even if one was my enemy, and God forbid, I hated the person with passion, when I wear my medical garb, as a doctor, I will ensure that my first priority will be the preservation of that life. That is what I practice. That was what I taught my students. Now, let's come back to the particular question you have raised. I absolutely believe that in terms of our healthcare infrastructure in Nigeria, in terms of our healthcare system in Nigeria, if I were elected president today, it is one area where I would declare a state of emergency. Because what we have today, even if you poured the entire Nigerian budget into our healthcare system, it's not going to work. It is an anomaly, to be honest with you. It is an anomaly, our healthcare system. And I think that it needs a complete, not just overhaul, a complete, rebirthing. Why did I support the president for coming out to seek medical attention? He's a human being, first of all. And as I said earlier, he deserves to be allowed to stay alive, regardless of what we think about him. It's immaterial, actually, when it comes to healthcare delivery or as a doctor. Number two, this man had been sick, and we all as Nigerians knew how sick he was in time past. If I were his doctor, I want to see him. I will encourage him to come for me to review his notes, review his status, and be able to give him appropriate advice. Yes, there were individuals who said, yes, For the years he'd been in power, he should have ensured that the infrastructure was in place to be seen in Nigeria. I absolutely 101% agree with that. But unfortunately, that is not the case. If I had the powers to do it, no Nigerian president will be treated outside of Nigeria because it is of top national security and priority.
But Dr. Idaewor, you had the powers to do it, because you're going out to protest. A lot of Nigerians found it very painful. At the time, the doctors were on strike, and they said you going out to protest to support the president going to seek medical care abroad in the UK was an endorsement that other Nigerians that were dying in teaching hospitals in Nigeria can go and die, and because they have no money to be flown abroad. So me hearing that you're running for president now, I'm excited, but a lot of people are saying that singular thing you did is tainting your character. You want to apologize to Nigerians for that?
Rufa, yes. I mean, as I started by saying, one of the key character that a leader should possess is the ability to empathize. When that issue happened, I knew how I was hounded, I was abused, and my family was harassed, and I could understand. In fact, some of my students were very angry with me. They said to me, "Sir, this was not what you taught us." But I took time to always explain my position. And all I can say is this, that look, for those Nigerians who feel offended by the actions that I took, it was not meant to denigrate any Nigerian. In fact, I value intensely the life of every Nigerian, just as much as I value the life of Mr. President. And that is for me, there is no difference. They are all the same. Whether one is president, whether one is a farmer, whether one is a trader, all Nigerians, their lives matter. Their lives are important. And therefore, to the specific question you raised, all I can say to Nigerians who feel, offended by that action is to say, look, think with me, travel with me, and feel that, look, I will treat you exactly the same way I have treated Mr. President. I will stand up for you exactly the way I stood up for Mr. President. And be rest assured that if you feel offended, I say to you, please forgive and be calm about this. We don't hold you in any less privileged position. Okay? So I will say this to Nigerians. Please, it is not time to be angry amongst or with yourselves. Okay? So, I mean, if in terms of apology, yes, of course. Indeed, when that was going on Facebook, I spoke to a lot of my colleagues. Look, please don't need to be angry. Forgive where you think that this is not appropriate, but understand where I am coming from. I am passionate about my career, about my profession as a medical practitioner. It is my view that all lives indeed matter.
Okay, Dr. Idaewor. Now, you declared for this, presidential position in September 2021. What is the strategy? One, where are you going to get the money from to run the ambition, considering the fact that money is a major factor in Nigerian politics? And then since September, I mean, we were told you are still in the UK. Are you running your campaign from abroad? Because you refer to what you call a diaspora movement. When indeed the main voters are on the ground here, at what point are you going to relocate to Nigeria so that the ordinary electorate would think that, well, this is a very serious campaign rather than something you are doing by Zoom or by remote control or by DHL?
Thank you very much, Dr. Ruben. Well, I should be learning some of the things from you. You've been there for a long, long time. And I'm sure at some point I will sit down with you and over coffee, I will take lessons on this. But seriously, one of the critical issues that blunts or blights Nigerian politics is an issue that you refer to in your question, and that is the issue of money, monetized politics. This is denying us as a country of our best. And I think that one of the things that I'm hoping that our movement will be able to frame is the attempt or the desire or the plan to shift minds away from monetization of our politics. The first thing we are putting in place is to say, look, we are going to deploy technology. Number two is to say, look, we have offered ourselves, offered our time, offered our resources, but we want Nigerians to get our message, to understand our message, that this is about returning the single most important, impactful factor in their lives back into their hands. And what is that impactful factor? It is the factor of politics. It is the most important issue that affects the lives of anyone. And until Nigerians themselves take ownership of their political power, people who are not supposed to dominate their lives will continue to dominate their lives. The direction of travel of our politics will continue to go in the wrong direction. And the oppressive conduct of certain Nigerians will continue. What we are hoping to achieve in this campaign is to get Nigerians to buy into our message, to say, look, you have 1 naira, bring it on the table. You have 10 naira, bring it to the table. And let us together reboot our country. Let us together claim political power for the people and make democracy in Nigeria truly what it ought to be. A government by the people, a government for the people, a government of the people. And until this happens, Dr. Ruben, I think that we will continue to have a situation where only moneyed men, whether they have the critical characters that could take a community or a society or a country out of the doldrums, we will continue to have such individuals ruling or leading or providing political leadership in our country. And I think that this is an important issue. Now, as to my place, or where I'm staying at the moment, we have been in the era of COVID. Usually I'm in Nigeria often. And it's not be possible to be at home as much as one would like to. I believe that, firstly, as a medical practitioner, I need to be an exemplar of, providing a value to regulations that helps to control this pandemic. I couldn't try in any shape or form to manipulate or do anything that was not right, or do anything in terms of traveling. So now that national boundaries are opening up and things are getting a lot more settled, I've had my vaccinations. Yes, I will certainly be home soon. And as I said to you earlier, I'm sure that at some point I'll be able to meet your distinguished self over coffee, and we'll be able to share thoughts on the challenge.
Doctor, make it jollof rice, not coffee.
Okay.
I prefer jollof rice to coffee. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Philip Idaewor, for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you too. Thank you,
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. God bless. Yeah, bye-bye.